This is Business Talk, your business, your success. Sponsored by Take Action Business Coaching. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given is not intended to replace that of your business advisor. Now, let's get down to talking about your business, your success. This is Business Talk.
I love bringing up topics right before we go on the air.
Oh, it's awesome when you do that. I love that.
I do that on purpose. Just it's great to be with everybody today. I want to just have some energy and some excitement as we
got it now. Happy Saturday, Peg. That's yours.
Happy Saturday. Okay.
All right. Here we go. So
this is Business Talk
with Peg and Pete. we're talking today about.
Well, we're going to have a couple. First, we're going to do news, right? The good news.
Of course.
Then
we always do that.
Pete and I, we get to talk with and work with a lot of companies, and a lot of them have the new generation millennials in there. And I came across an article on LinkedIn called An Open Letter to Management, Why Millennials Keep Dumping You. And we're going to go through the reasons why millennials are quitting you. So if you have employed in a millennial or you're about to, I would suggest you sticking around and listening to that.
If you haven't, you're going to.
Yes.
So you might want to tune in. Yes.
So that's one.
Yes, and we're going to talk about coaching again, because we've been working through this book called The Master Coach by Greg Thompson, and there's some really good things in there that we kind of do as second nature. But all of you that are in leadership roles, whether you own a company or you're working at another larger company in a managerial role, you're always coaching whether you know it or not.
Right,
so we want to help you get better and better.
That'll be good.
So first, some good news.
Yeah, start.
So
you have
one
a lot
thing
of news.
there's a lot of stuff, but I'll be quick on these. But one of these, the title of is "So You're Hired," and yes, you're hired. No, we don't need to meet you. There's a long article, and I won't go into a ton of detail, but there are a lot of companies out there that are hiring people just after one phone call. This young lady got out of North Carolina Central University and got a job with a company after a 30-minute phone interview, and she's hired. And they didn't even meet her, and it's happening a lot.
Like a full-time job?
Full-time job, because of the job market. They're just hiring people on a phone call. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I was telling my friend the other day, she goes, I think I'll get a job after the holidays. I said, no, get a job now. There's no way to wait until next year.
Yeah, let's get her done.
Yeah, let's get her done.
Yeah, Macy's has boosted their holiday outlook. So that could be a good sign. Yeah, they've delivered healthy sales growth in the last quarter, and they raised their guidance for the year. And they're expecting that they're going to have even better sales for the fourth quarter.
I just love that.
Same-store sales grew 3% in the last quarter. So
well, and you look at that, and what you want to see is success. And we want to have that retailer. We want Macy's around, right?
Yeah, 60% of the economy is individuals, right? Not the government and businesses.
Yeah.
It's individuals. And then this ties into our millennial theme. Offbeat job titles become a hiring tool. In a race for talent, positions get rebranded and new roles are created. Startups seek to recruit growth hackers. So there's some examples here. Product evangelist, technology visionary, data wrangler. They're trying to attract people with cool job titles.
Oh,
I
like it. Yeah, that is. I'm sorry. I'm looking down. And
rock star, ninja.
I've got to tell you. I've got to tell you a story. I need you to listen to this because this is a good story talking about creative titles. So we had just read a book. Golly, I can't remember. It was a customer service book, and they talked about having neat titles. One of which would be like the director of first impressions, which is basically a receptionist, right?
Yeah. But it's
so we went ahead and we advertised for the director of first impressions, and we had a group hiring process. We were with a company. We brought them all in. We described the position, and two people got up and left and said, "I thought this was a director position."
Oh.
Not a director of first impressions.
Gotcha.
They thought director.
Director. Yeah. Like I've got a bunch of employees reporting to me.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
Isn't that interesting?
So next one, wages rises, hiring accelerates. We all know that we've had some pretty good news as far as hiring goes and number of jobs being added. And $250,000 in October, or 250,000 jobs in October were added. Unemployment's holding at 3.7%, which is a 49-year low.
Wow.
And wages increased by 3.1% year over year. It's the biggest year over year gain since 2009.
Well, and I want to talk about that for a second, Pete. You and I have some clients that Pete and I were talking with one of our clients the other day, and we were talking about how she is going to go through and increase their rates.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is it's getting competitive, right? And people
are trying to steal your people.
Right. And you need to be competitive. So if you haven't done so, we have several companies who have done this, several.
Yep.
And so if you haven't done it already, take a look at the wages you're paying and make sure you're competitive in nature so you don't lose anyone just because of pay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good idea. And then the last one, retailers bring on the robots. I just like this because it's cool. It's about robots. Target is going to add automatic cash counting machines to nearly 2,000 stores starting in the summer. So instead of somebody sitting there counting money, change, and bills, they're going to have machines do it. So they're coming in small ways, and it doesn't mean they're going to eliminate jobs, but it'll reduce some labor. Right?
Well, and it's interesting because if you look at McDonald's and you look at Wendy's, and now you can go in, as you know, and there's a kiosk to order. And the reason that is the margins on some of that haven't really gone up. So if you think about fast food and you think about how cheap it is, right? Well,
I can get a little cheeseburger for $1, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Off the dollar menu.
So they have to come up with ways to save on labor in order to deliver a product for low costs and still maintain their margins.
Right.
And I'm sure Target's doing the same thing. I think everybody's trying to do that which is America. You know, we're trying to have competitive advantage.
And the other way to look at it is that just the example of the cash counting, if you free up a few hours a month or year from cash counting, which is a pretty low value activity, that frees up an employee to do something that use more of their brain.
Right. Exactly.
It's a higher level activity that employee will be freed up to do.
Which is great.
Which is good.
It is good.
Okay.
Well, that's good news.
So
Thank
there
you,
we
Pete.
go.
Thank
Yeah,
you. And
you're
this is
welcome.
Peg and Pete with Business Talk, and we just went through the good news. If you want to hear any of our shows in their entirety, go to actioncoachcolumbus.com, actioncoachcolumbus.com, and you can click on 98.9, and you'll see all of our archive shows. And you
They're
can
in
also,
there by title, right? Or topic.
Topic and date. Mm-hmm. So actioncoachcolumbus.com. So, Pete,
So I'm trying to think of what job title would I come up with for you?
For me.
What offbeat job title? Alan, you should help me with it.
Instead of business coach.
And data wrangler. That's not it. I think rock star.
I like that.
Actually, it shows a dramatic increase in the number of postings for the title rock star. It's increased by 40% since 2014.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and Ninja has gone up 40% also. Ninja.
Okay.
Like we're going to advertise for a ninja.
I like it. So, oh my.
Cool.
So, okay. So, Pete, let's go through this millennial article, okay?
Great.
So, listening to us, I know.
What is a millennial?
I was just about to say, let's define what a millennial is. And there is some.
It's my kids. Right?
It's data. There's some data that sometimes, generations are developed and named by the media, except for baby boomers.
Sometimes they change their mind. Right? They shift things.
Right. So baby boomers was created, the years and the name was created by the Census Bureau. So that's why it's very consistent. But other generations was created by the media.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think of what age, like, and the high end, a millennial would be what?
Well, my son Ben is probably on the high
32.
edge of it. He was born in 86.
Yeah.
So he's probably at the beginning of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And then the end of it, I heard, was what, 2000 and, when you were born, 2001 or 2000.
2000, which would make it what?
Right. So
only 18?
18 or 21.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know that Allie is not one.
Right.
My daughter Allie, who's 17, is not one. But she's
what's
like a year or two
the next generation then?
The next one is Z.
Z. Okay. So she's a Z.
She's a Z.
Okay.
Her and Lauren are Zs. So anyway, that gives you a gist of I'm going to say, and again, give or take a year, they're around 20 on the young end.
Yeah.
And 32 on the high end.
Okay.
So, it was really good because I think a lot of times we get into this thing of they're millennials, and you know what they are? They're just young workers who want to work.
Right.
And a lot of this.
They need to work.
Because guess what? This isn't just for millennials. And I keep saying that whenever I say, this is what millennials want. And I go, I think everyone wants this. This isn't just about millennials. So I thought it would be really good to go through.
Well, not everybody's the same, too. That's the other thing, is that we know that with everybody, is that we can't just lump them all together.
Right.
But there are some common things, and you're going to bring up some of these things.
And now keep in mind, so millennials are 35% of our workforce right now.
Wow.
And they will be 46% by 2020.
Okay.
So it's going to be big
Oh,
part
in
of our
2 years.
workforce. Yes.
46%.
Almost 50%.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just rounding up.
Yeah.
50%.
Okay.
So
we better get on
You better
this.
listen to this.
You listen up. Stop your car.
Yes,
pull over.
and take notes.
And listen.
So I like this because it's from the perspective of a gal who is a millennial. Her name is Elizabeth, and she wanted to share some insights about the top performing millennials. Now, and that's what's really important is this is going to be tips and strategies from top performers. And again, I'm telling you it's millennials, but it's every other generation.
But that's who we want to focus on, right? Is
Right.
hiring the top performers.
Right. And
Okay.
this is going to be good. And when I go through this, Pete, it's for baby boomers.
Okay.
It's for the Zs, or I'm sorry, the Ys. That's what I am. And so as we're going through, we're going to talk about what you can do to make sure to increase your, I guess, retention rate of your team, specifically millennials.
Great.
When we return.
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more business talk.
All right, so here we go. We're talking about millennials, and we're also going to talk a bit about coaching. But this millennial topic is huge.
Yeah, we're going to
Because
start
half
out
of
with
the
that.
workforce is going to be
Right, 46%
In 2 years.
2 years is
2
going to be
years.
millennials. So here's some of the things that we hear about millennials, right? The stereotypes, we'll call
the
it.
stereotypes. Okay.
Okay,
good.
so number one, they don't settle down, right? They go from one thing to
They
another.
can jump from one thing to
Yeah.
another. Okay.
They drown in debt because of all the degrees
They got
they've
a lot of student loan debt.
Exactly,
right?
the
A
student
lot of them
loan,
do, yeah.
as we call the stereotype, is you have all this useless degrees, right?
You're in dad's basement.
Right, and they refuse to put their phone away, right?
Oh, well,
Everything's
yes.
on the phone. And they're addicted to what? Lattes and Starbucks, even at the expense of water bills.
They will not drink a standard black coffee.
Yes,
They
we
just
need
won't.
to do the lattes.
Okay.
And but that's all true. I mean, it's stereotypical, but there's a lot of truth to it. So, pointing to here's one thing is to be careful of. Number one is don't point to the irresponsible spending or fear of here's another one, fear of interpersonal commitments. And criticize millennials because that's not good to do.
Well, painting anybody with a broad brush is a problem.
Again,
Right.
when I say millennials, insert any. I mean, this is an article about millennials, but as I'm going to this, I'm like, you can insert any generation. We shouldn't be doing this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here are some things.
And again, this is written by someone who actually is a millennial.
Yes.
Right? She is.
Okay, so she says, here's what really is behind a millennial's resignation letter. Ready? Number one, and we say this all the time, if you're tolerating low performance. And what we mean by that, it's so you have two people working and one person isn't working well
Right.
and is a low performer.
And you
know
don't
what
do anything about
right.
it. Then the good person quits, is
Correct.
what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the big risk is
you lose good people.
we don't want to lose. We want to keep the
but
good people.
again, insert
Right.
any. We were just with a client.
It discourages older workers
Pete,
as
you
well.
and I were there on
Yeah.
Friday talking about we have a company we're coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a couple low performers and they're not doing anything about it, and the high performers are getting upset. See, they want to be part of a winning team,
Yeah.
and they
Right.
don't want that
Right.
being accepted.
Right.
Consistency in leadership and high performance is how you get results.
Consistency in leadership and also the willingness to step up and face a problem and actually work on it.
Right.
Act on it.
Right.
Do something.
Right.
Right? Okay.
So that's number one,
Okay.
which I loved.
That's
but
a big
again,
one.
we say millennials. I'm inserting any generation.
Could be anybody. Yep.
Yeah. See, poor performers have an effect on everyone. Okay.
Right.
You want number two?
Number two.
I liked this one a lot because
Okay.
this one educated me. So
Okay.
everybody ready to listen?
Ready.
ROI is not enough for me. Now I want our clients to listen to this, and they, as a client of ours, one of the homework assignments is listen to our radio show, and the reason is we just recently did some meetings in front of our teams looking at ROI and teaching it.
Uh-huh.
But I want to read this. I want to read you what she said because this is really good. She said, I spent Sunday thinking about how I can make a difference to our customers. Now it's Monday morning, and what do I hear? Stock price, billing, ROI. Suddenly my Monday power playlist seems useless. I'm sitting in a conference room listening to you drag on about cash flow.
Uh-huh.
which is interesting because we do.
So we've got to have a mission, right?
Well, I'll go on. I was making money bartending in college. Then I'm at an entry-level job. You say I'll get a raise in a year if the company hits a certain number. So what? I need something to care about today. Talk to me about how we make a difference, not your ROI report. The fact is, organizations with a bigger purpose than money have a growth rate triple that of their competitors. So you have to go back to what you just said.
Yeah.
Let's talk about mission.
Can they connect with your mission?
Yeah. Can they connect? And I really like that because we have been sharing. One of the things Pete and I talk about in our coaching is talking about an open book and sharing the numbers and educating on them. But it does have to be a higher purpose. I think that's really good. I like that one.
That's good. Okay.
Isn't that a good one?
Yeah, so that's number 2.
That one got me a little because I was like, uh-oh. Are our companies really doing that? And as you're listening, are you doing it? And how often are you sharing, right?
Right. Is it clear?
Is
the
clear?
Mission clear?
Right. Is our purpose clear?
Right.
Is it? I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 3. Culture is more than free Panera.
Well, yes. Or a foosball table.
I like that. See, a lot of times people, it's exactly what you said. It's not about collateral. It's not about foos tables. It's not about, not that they don't like that. I'm not saying to take that away, not take away that, but be more inspired about other things, like surrounded by people who are on fire for what they're doing. And, a manager that is motivating to push boundaries, think differently. Working in a cool office is great. Having the Panera is great. But really, culture is about the drive and the managers and how they treat you.
How you work with each other and how you interact with each other and
exactly
whether people care about you as a person.
That's what culture is.
Okay.
Now, the other things are nice, but it's not to replace.
Right.
And that is true. And then this was another one. Okay, ready? I did not get this one. So this educated me.
All right.
It's okay to get personal.
Ah.
I know. So let me.
And actually, it might be good to get personal.
Right.
Okay.
Well, now we do say create relationships. Don't get me wrong. We do. We say go out and find out what's your why. But she says, treat me like a number and I'll return the favor. This job will quickly become nothing more than my rent payment. I'll start living for Friday and counting down the minutes. And then after,
we don't want that. We don't want that.
Exactly. So that's what ends up quitting you. People quitting. You're raised to believe you can change the world. She goes, millennials are raised to believe I could change the world. I'm desperate for you to show me that the work we do matters, even a little bit. What is the impact this work is making? And then I'll go and work and drive through walls. But I'm not doing it to help you get a new Mercedes. I'll give you everything I've got, but I need to know it makes a difference to something bigger than your bottom line. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's good.
So if you think about it, so after I read this, that was it. Those things, and I'll repeat them in a minute. But
good.
As I was listening to it, I was like, for the baby boomers who are now the owners or the supervisors, it was actually the opposite. We were raised on, I want the Mercedes. It was material. It was money. That's what.
Well, and you come in and do your job, regardless of what the company's mission is. You just do your job is to come in and do your job.
Right. And this isn't the same.
Yeah.
So one of the things is don't tolerate low performers. It's not just about ROI. Think about the mission and the purpose. Okay. Culture is more than just a lunch, that it's about how we treat each other. And the fourth one, it's okay to get personal. And that's one thing we ask our leaders to do. We do a leadership class. In fact, Pete, we should talk about that.
Yes.
We have a leadership class starting in January.
This is Peg and Pete with Business Talk.
Right. And thank you. And we're talking about what we first started talking about millennials, but we're going to talk about coaching. But we do have this class starting, and let's describe it. It starts in January, and it's on different. I want to say middle managers, but even top managers are coming.
And it could be new leaders as well.
It could be all kinds of leaders, and we're going to do a 2-hour training session. Do you want to describe a little bit about the training session?
Yeah, so
Pete?
we will do a training session once a month, and it'll be a group, and that group will then go back to their places of employment, and we will check in with them in a couple weeks and see how they've taken that learning and applied it at the workplace, what struggles they've run into, and basically coach them in between. The following month, they'll come back and learn a new leadership topic, and then they'll take that information back and repeat.
And it's the first one is going to be January 10th, and people say, how long is it? Well, it's as long as you want to go because it is once a month, but we would want you to be in it for at least 12 months if you can, if you have to only.
And there's a new
6.
topic every month for minimum 12 months.
Well, and they carry over, meaning we talk about your homework, but you can hop in, let's say in March, and still be a part of it. The first one is January 10th. It's $500 per person, per employee. So you can throw in one of your employees. They get to be coached by Peg and Pete and Michelle. We're going to rotate, and we're going to do this class, and it's fantastic. We've done it for this will be our second year, and it got so the first time it went so well, we decided to open it up not just to companies, but to not just to one company per class, but multiple companies. So we should have about 20 people in there, and if you're interested, call
614-306-7922.
Okay, good. All right, Pete. So that was the millennials. Isn't that interesting?
Perfect. I like it. And again,
really
50% of the workforce in the next 2 years will be millennials.
Right. So purpose is important. Purpose and getting personal. Just saying.
So if you don't have your purpose, you might want to figure that out, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You want to figure out what that is.
Yes.
So the last time we talked about coaching, and we'll get back into this, is we talked about the 7 characteristics of a coaching culture. And what does it really mean? It means that we get more done with less effort, and we help develop people. That's really what coaching is about, is helping people to develop as quickly as possible. And what I wanted to do is to start off with some things that 7 steps every leader can take when they're working with their employees. So
I like
you're
that.
ready?
I'm ready. Okay. What are the steps?
Number 1, strongly encourage everyone in the organization to invite another organizational member to coach them. In other words, we want everybody to have a coach within the organization. You may have an employee, and you may be their coach, but you may have an employee that's coached by someone from another department.
Okay, I love it.
But everybody should have someone that's helping them to grow. In addition to their regular manager, right?
It is so. That is, one of the things we see, and it's good times now, Pete. But one of the things we see, which is interesting, is that training and development gets cut first.
Oh, right. And formalized training.
Yeah, but we need to do this always. It needs to be a part of your onboarding. It needs to be a part of, because people will stay longer. Labor is generally the number one expense in your business.
It's a big one.
What investment are you making?
The top one, it's up there.
What investment are you making in that? I like
reinvest,
that one. I like that one. Okay.
And you're setting a great example if you're involved in it yourself. So number 2, dive into the process yourself. Invite someone in the organization to coach you, and insist that all senior leaders do the same.
Oh, that's good. I love that.
And notice that it's insist, not encourage. In other words, we're doing this.
I like that. I like that, of course.
Okay. Remind the team that anyone can coach anyone. A good coach is a good coach, period. Don't waste HR's time in the futile pursuit of good matches or chemistry. And you can coach your boss, too.
Okay.
Which we've done it. We've all done it.
I like that. Especially if you can coach your boss and everybody does everything and you don't make it. That's outstanding.
And great bosses value someone that will coach up big time, because sometimes you don't see it, or a lot of people are afraid to tell you what they see or what's being talked about out in the workforce.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
So number 4, before the break, ask people to take on only one coaching assignment at a time. In other words, if you've got a high performer and they want to coach 2 people, no. Pick one and do that for several months or maybe a year, and then you can move on to someone else.
That's really good
one
advice.
At a time. It's the same thing with volunteering for things even outside of work. Pick one charity that you really want to give your time and energy to, and do it.
I like that.
So focus.
We were coaching a company executive, and they were mentoring 2 or 3 people. It was way overwhelming. That's a great idea.
To learn more about today's topic, call 614-306-7922. Now, back to more business talk.
All right, so we're talking here about coaching and
the 7 that we're talking about. The 7, these tips are terrific, and we went through 4 right before the break. Let's just revisit those
7
4
steps that leaders can take.
Yes.
So encouraging everyone in the organization to invite another organizational member to coach them. So everyone should have a coach.
That one. Uh-huh.
I mean, that's the simple one. Everyone should have a coach. 2, dive into it yourself. Have someone coach you. It could be someone that reports to you. It could be somebody that's in another department, another manager. Remind the team that anyone can coach anyone.
And like what you said, which I really liked, is like a boss. Have somebody help coach the boss. I like that.
Yep. And a reminder: ask people to take on only one coaching assignment at a time.
Okay. I like that.
Which I think is good. It's focus, right?
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was good when you said volunteering too. Just one volunteer.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Okay, what's
number 5? So provide the following loose but important guidelines. Coaching pairs should meet in person or via telephone 30 to 60 minutes. And that's plenty of time. We know. We've been doing this for many years. In 30 to 60 minutes, you can get almost anything worked on. And all you want is to be able to make forward progress and to focus. If you're focused, you can make progress.
Create an agenda, Pete, to make sure that focus is there.
Yep.
Like have an agenda that you go through so that you don't go off.
Yeah. And it does need to last for 4 to 6 months, or you're just not going to make lasting change. It takes time to get habits built.
And it could be even longer. I'm just saying.
Right. Minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And number 6, at the end of every coaching engagement, encourage people to invite a different organizational member to coach them after they're done. After the 6 months or year, whatever it is, then move on to someone else.
Correct. I like that one.
Number 7, equip everyone in your organization with the skills, perspectives, and approaches necessary to immediately coach at a high level. Now, that's a challenge. You have to have some training, right? Some development. There's great books out there.
Well, and that's what Pete and I do is we come in and we teach you how to coach. So when we coach an individual, guess what? So we'll go into an organization. They'll give us 2 or 3 people to coach. Mm-hmm. Then their job is now to be the coach inside and then to coach others.
Right.
So, I mean
that's really what we're doing is developing coaching abilities in everybody that we work with.
Right.
Because that's where the leverage is, right? If they learn some of these things, then they can impart it with everybody else.
I love it. Yes.
Yep. Great.
I like those 7 steps. That's good.
So part of the last 7 here is asking questions. So how do you ask great questions that get through the closely held assumptions and the mental models, constructively confront unhelpful behaviors, practices, and attitudes? That's a big one. How do you get through those things that are holding people back? Reaffirm strengths and talents and abilities, even if people don't recognize them.
Like, in other words, don't talk about all the problems all the time. It can be about their strengths too.
Sure, and make sure the person knows that, hey, they're actually good at this, and they should do it more often.
Agreed.
And then share fresh perspectives, no matter how radical it is.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Those are good. And again, this book, let's talk about the title and the author again, The Master Coach.
Yeah, again, it's The Master Coach. Greg Thompson is the gentleman's name. Marshall Goldsmith wrote the introduction, who we really like. We've seen Marshall speak several times, and it's really good.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So some of the other things in this we're talking about here is that how adults learn. You're going to like this, Peg. So number 1, optimal adult learning is self-directed. They need to have control over how they're doing it.
Well, and you know what's interesting is when Pete and I and Michelle, we coach our clients, at every session we talk about what you're learning, because coaching is about education, right, and learning. And what we ask is what are you learning? And it doesn't always have to be reading a book. It can be a podcast. It can be an article. It could be listening to this radio show. It's a way of learning, and we want them to pick the way.
And it can be different for everybody.
Right.
Exactly. That's the key thing. And in fact, they say that a good coach is going to help an adult learn by empowering them, encouraging them, challenging them to figure out what path is right for them.
Right.
So we ask good questions to get them to think about, well, what would you do? Would you listen to a book on the way home?
Right.
Would you go to a seminar and listen to a speaker? Mm-hmm. Would you hang out in a different department for half a day and figure out how they're doing something?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, I like that. Good. Okay.
A good coach always remembers that adult learners bring many years of life experience to the table of learning. So you've got a lot of work experience, and we need to recognize that. And then adult learning tends to be goal-oriented. So at work, we need to have a goal in mind and then say, well, what learning would I need to learn to be able to exceed expectations in that area, or to reach that goal, or for my department or company to reach a gigantic goal? Well, what is it? Is it sales? Is it
could be
interpersonal skills?
Yeah, we go.
Yeah, is it self-management? Do I need some help on those things?
Yeah, time management. I like that.
It's about practice, experimentation, and engagement.
Yeah, that's good. And really, I liked what you said about having a goal, because when we coach, we always have a 90-day plan too.
Yes. So
we have what is your goal? What are the strategies? How are we going to get you there?
Right.
And so that you can follow a path. And that makes your coaching sessions actually focused as well.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So we know the priorities. And a lot of times when we're starting to coach, here's a tip, is you write down all the things you need to do and then make sure that there's a list of what you're not going to do.
Right.
This
That's
is what
just
we're
as
not,
important
yeah.
as the ones you're focused on.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about these
And
things.
then the other thing, talking about a typical coaching session, is there are times when you come in and say, okay, what's on the top of your mind? And that thing that's on the top of the mind, it could be a big problem that happened, or it could be a big opportunity that's happening. That may become the focus of the session that week if there's not something that's on the longer-term plan that's more important.
Right, exactly.
So.
Exactly. Good.
Okay.
Good.
So here we go. Next, top 10 principles of learning, changing, and developing in a person. So number 1, this is good. You'll like this one. We're all stuck to some degree. Often the things that keep us stuck are habits, attitudes, beliefs, and relationships that were once very important to us.
I like that. That is true. I like that. We're all stuck for a little bit. Interesting. Yeah, and in the book Triggers, which Marshall Goldsmith, and we've talked about this before on our radio shows, if you want to go back to our website, again, this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk. Our website is actioncoachcolumbus.com, and then you'll just scroll down and you'll see the radio shows, and you'll see Triggers as one of them. But in Triggers, he talks a lot about change, and I really like how to create change and how you're not going to change anything. We are stuck, especially if we're satisfied.
And that's really what we're all about as coaches, is helping people make lasting change.
Right.
It's not about
lasting.
doing lasting change.
That's why it's not training. It's coaching.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah. Training is going to a workshop, listening to somebody getting all excited, going back to work, and pretty soon you forgot it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And then, I got it like a adrenaline rush, and then it goes away. But coaching keeps going with you. Okay.
So number 1 was we're all stuck to some degree. Number 2, we don't resist change, we resist loss. So sometimes we, even though some habit or process thing that we do may not be helping us, we don't want to let it go. Naturally wired to adapt to a changing world. So we can change rapidly. We just have to figure out a way to get over the loss of whatever that habit, routine that we have that we're comfortable with. It's comfort zone stuff.
I was thinking, like, even just thinking about food, it's like, what are you going to give up?
Right.
Are you going to give up the French fries and have a salad? So you have to get over what you're giving up.
Right. Yep.
Or you're going to have to give up sleeping in if you want to get in shape. Or you're going to have to get up, you're going to have to give up comfort zone of being silent to speak up.
Yep.
Okay, I like it.
Number 3, our past successes are often impediments to moving forward to a new chapter in work, career, or life.
And it's what it's because Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there, and you believe that your past successes are what drove you to succeed, so you don't want to give them up.
Right.
It's the biggest challenge, don't you think, working with very successful people. They're under the impression that they have to be who they are. I have to be me in order to be successful, and what they don't remember is that, or don't know, I shouldn't say that it's sometimes what you have to give up.
Yeah.
Like you have to stop doing something.
Yeah, those behaviors that work to get you to that level are not necessarily what you need to do.
Like here's an example. We have one person who has multiple habits of multitasking. Like when they're on the elevator, they're on their phone, or when they're in the hallways, they're talking to multiple people, or they're talking to someone and then they leave in the middle of a conversation.
Right.
And they get a lot done. Well, now the more and more direct reports they have, the direct reports aren't feeling the love. Because guess what?
Or even respect
or respect. Yeah. Absolutely not. And they're like, this is ridiculous. You're
he
just
doesn't say hi to me.
I'm doing everything. And then he tries to do everything. So let's say that's definitely something that really drove him to get into that new level. It's stopping him from getting to the next level.
Gotcha. Yep. So number 4, everyone has the potential and ability to make choices now that will have a significant and positive impact on their future. So it's the little choices that we can develop into habits that will dramatically change the future.
I like that.
That's what we're really focused on.
Okay, I like that.
Number 5, the willingness to truly learn that distinguishes a person as having high potential. So if we're looking for people that might have high potential within our businesses, we need to be looking towards the folks that are really hungry to learn.
And that's one question when you're interviewing is, what are you reading? What are you learning? What you have to.
Or how do you feel about learning?
Yeah.
Tell me about your approach to learning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And have them tell you a little story about them learning something in a work environment.
Absolutely.
It's a great screening question.
It is a great
screening. We want learners.
Right. Absolutely. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, this is a good one. You'll like this one. Many, if not most, limitations are self-imposed.
Oh, I agreed.
Almost all of them.
Limiting beliefs. We sabotage ourselves so often.
I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. Okay, fine.
I had a coaching session last week with somebody on this, and I said, what is the story you're telling yourself? Because you sat here and told me a story that's wrong. That is not the person I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
What is the person? What are you saying about yourself? You're not being kind, and you're wrong.
So you have more belief in this person than they have in themselves.
Most often
in that area.
Most often, that is the case.
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more business talk.
So we're talking today about coaching, and we've got this great book by Greg Thompson. It's called Master Coach, and we're going through the 10 principles of learning, change, and development. And number 6 was many, if not most, limitations are self-imposed. So we put a lot of limits on ourselves.
Right. And right before the break, you said it. We were telling the example of the person I was coaching. You said you believed in them more than they believed in themselves. And that was true, and it's most of the time true. Other people believe that you can do more than you can do. Oh, yeah. I mean, we see it every day that somebody else is believing you're capable of so much more.
Yeah, and I had a client last week where she says, "Well, I don't know how to do that." I said, "Well, you can learn it. You went through medical school and did great. You can do this."
Right.
And
right.
She's like, "Well, yeah, I probably can."
Yeah, I'm a smart cookie. I'm a smart cookie.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Number 7, trying to improve or fix others is a futile effort that usually ends up annoying them and frustrating you.
Isn't that interesting? And what's the title of this list again?
This is Top 10 Principles of Learning, Change, and Development.
And trying to fix people.
Yeah, since coaching is really about facilitating learning and change and developing others. These are underpinning principles.
Well, and what you have to do is they have to want to change. It was funny. I have a friend who has a husband who's not nice, and you know who I'm talking about.
Putting it mildly. Yeah,
that's putting it mildly. And she's trying to fix him for 5 years. I said, he's not going to change. Stop it. This is not the solution. Is not to try and fix people, not when they don't want to change.
Right. Number 8, one sincere expression of encouragement can change a life forever.
Oh, that's
I like that
good.
one. I believe that one. I mean, you think about it with your kids.
Well,
right?
Well, absolutely. And thinking of, Thanksgiving, right? And we're going through Thanksgiving and this weekend, and what have you said gratitude? What have you done to express gratitude? Hopefully you did at dinner, or you go around the table and say what you're grateful for, which is a really nice thing. But
you business leaders, I mean, your words of encouragement are really can be life-changing to your employees. Whether they stay with you their whole career or they go somewhere else, if you help them permanently,
absolutely.
It's good, right?
Absolutely. I like that.
Okay, number nine. The most potent step forward usually involves a very difficult conversation. So what's the point of that one?
Well, I think that a lot of times, and I'm going to go back at the beginning of our show, we were talking about millennials and talking about how you have to have really good, productive workers and not allow poor performance. And critical conversations is behind everything.
Right.
We got to make sure that we're able to have a difficult conversation, and also know that we want 8 out of 10 times of those conversations to be positive.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're going to yell at everybody.
Right.
It just means a crucial conversation means one that is, when it's held well, will have a positive impact on that person and the organization. And that book, Crucial Conversations by Carrie Patterson, is a really good workbook if you're a manager, leader, business owner, and want to be able to sit down with an employee more comfortably and have a difficult conversation about somebody that you care about.
There you go. Right.
It gives you some great tools to be able to get comfortable doing it. And number 9, I like this one. This is great because you've got to decide you're actually going to have the difficult conversation. Because in a lot of cases, as the business owner or the manager, you're the only one that can really affect this person's how they conduct themselves.
Well, and it's interesting.
And if you don't do it.
And here's the first step, Pete. We have a client that we've been talking to that has to have this critical conversation. And every week I'm like, did you have it? And all I'm asking him to do is schedule it. And then if we have to role play, then let's role play. But role playing is a really good tool and strategy to help you with those conversations.
Well, and it's the just do it thing, is just get it in your calendar and actually do it. And when you start to do it as a routine and you don't let yourself off the hook,
right,
you get better at it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, one never becomes a great leader, doctor, or carpenter. Those we recognize as great in their field are ordinary men and women who just wake up every morning and choose the high road and work at it every day.
I like it. There you go.
It's nothing magical, right?
That's good. And
Good.
those were the 10 principles
of learning, change, and
development.
Yes.
And again, we're talking about how to be a great coach. And we're going through and giving you ideas and strategies of how to think like a coach, how to act like a coach. And of course, you can always call Pete or I for a complimentary coaching session.
Right.
Pete, what's your number there?
614-306-7922.
All right.
So here we go. We're going to now talk about top 10 qualities of a great coach. Now, you may have heard some of these things before, but these are really good, and they're right to the point. So tell me what you think about these. Number 1, this is a list. Have a spirit of generosity.
So coaches want to give. In other words, they want to be generous.
They liberally share their time, their attention, and their energy with other people. You want to help other people.
And think about this. So for like our leadership class that we talked about last session, you want to send people to that who are going to be your internal coaches, because then they can help coach your team.
People that you know are not only going to use it for themselves, but they're going to share it with everybody.
Exactly. I like that. Okay. I like that.
Number 2, you'll like this one. So see the best in others. A great coach can see the best in other people.
I like that. You know, I'd like some of our athletic coaches to listen to this, all of this. This is a good segment for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to inspire them to be their best.
Right. And the subnote here, they choose to look past the shortcomings of others to focus on the other person's positive qualities, even if deeply hidden.
I like that.
Let's find out what's the kernel of greatness in there, and let's make it grow. Number 3, they have high self-esteem. They feel good about themselves, that they do not use the coaching relationship to feed their egos. It's not about them.
I think this is dead on. This is dead on. I like this. This is actually my favorite list.
It's good. It's really good. So high personal self-esteem. So it's really how do I use my talents to help this person? But it's still about them, not me. Number 4, they're emotionally mature themselves. They're keenly self-aware. They understand how to manage their own emotions, and they're able to create substantial relationships with other people.
So again, these are characteristics of a great coach. So thinking of an internal coach of a team member.
Oh yeah, you could be thinking about your people going through these.
Like as we're going through this, who would fit to be coached to give the skills of coaching? Because you can read a book. The skill of coaching takes time. Trust us. Pete and I have been doing it for 14 years. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It was
and
a
it's not
process.
for everybody.
And it's isn't. Not. And that's okay, because not everybody has to be that. Okay, go on to the next one.
Number 5, they're interpersonally courageous. In other words, they are going to have that challenging conversation. They boldly confront those that they coach and seek the path to truth in all conversations. And when they say confront, they don't mean in a negative way or some way that's going to be hurtful. It's about getting to talk to what's really going on.
Got it. Right. Very good.
This is Peg and Pete with Business Talk, and we're going through the top 10 qualities of great coaches. Number 6, they have uncommon compassion. They understand the struggle and pain that often accompanies personal learning and change. Change can be tough.
It can be painful. It can be painful.
You can get your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
That, they really think that about me? Well, they do.
Because we have to we do interviews when we come in, and we talk to your team members before we start, and we get perspective of what's going on. Okay, I like that. Okay.
So they care deeply. Number 7, they're lifelong learners themselves. They have a voracious appetite for new knowledge and self-development.
Right, because here's the thing. As you're coaching, think about as you're picking, you can't have your people you're coaching outpace you in learning. You have to learn more.
Right.
That'll be important. Even one book, one story, one podcast, more. But your learning has to be aggressive.
They're strong enough to bend, and I like this one because I've had to do this over the years. Is sometimes you're coaching, the person you're coaching is going to go at their pace, and I want them to go at my pace.
Right.
And it may be different. You have to be okay with that. They have a unique blend of flexibility and resilience that allows them to weather disappointments, setbacks, and conflicts that are inherent in the process.
I like that. And you do have to go at the other person's pace.
Yep.
Because you know what? A journey, think about this. I always talk about coaching is you're going with a person, taking them by the hand, and they're going with you side by side. You're not racing.
Or side by each, as we used to say in Buffalo.
Okay. So we don't say that in Columbus, just saying.
Oh, we don't.
Side by each.
Side by each, man.
No. Yeah. Is that just a phrase that sounds like Like a little illiterate there, Pete. I'm just making fun. So really, it is going at the pace. Now, again, as you're listening to this and you're thinking about that, I want you to think of employees who can be your inner leader and coach to help you with your team. Okay, go ahead to the next one.
Yeah, and some of this is about patience, caring about this person, to have the patience to go at their pace.
I need to stop you right there because that is such a good statement. I want to talk about it. We talk about it, and I think, Pete, you're the one. You know what? Love is patient. I mean,
Sure. It's biblical.
I know. I just realized I was quoting.
Oh yeah, you are.
I'm quoting now. Yeah,
better
be. But really, to show patience is to respect and to not get frustrated because they're not at your level or they're not moving as fast.
Right.
It's critical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. You do that with me. You slow down for me. Number 9, they have an accepting nature. They recognize and silence their judgmental voices. Oh, this is good. They're a natural part of being a human being.
Right.
Isn't that good? Sometimes you have
that.
to just say, oh, I thought that. I'm not saying it.
Right. Well, and it's funny because as we are onboarding clients in coaching, one of the things we say is, you can trust us. We're not going to judge you. Absolutely never judge you. It's okay.
Yeah. Number 10, you're going to like this one. This is Peg. Have a perpetual optimistic bias.
There you go.
The default state is optimism. They help the person being coached see that they have the power to create a tomorrow that's better than today.
And that's critical because optimism and positivity is what really energizes and thrives for companies. It thrives for individuals. It's how we grow, and we must have that in order to really achieve greatness. I love that one. That was good. So that was the top 10 qualities of great coaches. Now, if you want to listen to this show in its entirety, go to our website, actioncoachcolumbus.com.
Very good.
And you'll see that we have different drop-down menus, whether it's our radio shows that are archived with the title, or we have our NBC4 interviews with Robin.
Oh, right. That's right.
That are also on there. You can listen. Those are 5 minutes segments. We want to encourage you to have your team members listen to that as well as these shows.
Yes, make them do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And as we said, we also have our leadership program available starting in January. You just give us a call and we can get you signed up.
614-306-7922.
This has been Business Talk, your business, your success. Sponsored by Take Action Business Coaching. The opinions expressed were those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given was not intended to replace that of your business advisor. For more information about the topics discussed today, call 614-306-7922. 614-306-7922. Tune in next week at this time for more Business Talk, your business, your success.